Hey guys, Josh with Goals Finishing here. We are going to talk about something interesting today. So, when I sell furniture, I try and make the biggest profit I can off of it, correct? And so would anybody else. Um, so, I want to talk a little bit about that and how I go by doing my projects and how I go shopping for them. So, basically, I took this four square method from a guy I know that does real estate, and he looks into all of these houses using this method. And I was like, that's a really cool method. It's a great way to figure out the percentage of return that you get back from your investment, correct? So I was like, how can I initiate this into my furniture, right? So this is a return on investment chart. This isn't to see what you're going to get back. I had to change this a little bit, okay? Because a he had an equation in there that basically, multiplied by 12 and was supposed to figure out what your return was supposed to be, year after year or month by month. So this isn't necessarily an investment with furniture, right? So I changed up the formulas a little bit to make it per project. Um, so bear with me here. We're going to talk a little bit about this, and I'm going to show you what percent of return you can expect back after finishing each and every piece of furniture. It'll also show you a good way to keep your market prices in the right range for you specifically. Um, if you're buying $200 tables and selling them for $250, you can go through this chart and look at your ROI, your return on investment, and see if that's worth doing, right? All right, so we're going to do something here. So let's say we're doing a small table, okay? Um, let's say we would like to sell this finished piece for, I don't know, 200 bucks, all right? So we're going to go sell price of 200, other. So I like to include other because sometimes I like to deliver. That's a great way, especially if people are older. That's a great way to make 15, 20 bucks for driving 5 miles, you know. So you can tack that on your price if you decide to deliver to people, and make sure you put that in your description so people know that you are available to do that. So we're going to put 0 right now. We're going to make it a pickup. We're going to make somebody pick it up. So we'll put 0. So our total down here will be $200. That's what we want to sell our piece for. Now we go down here to number 2, expenses. Product is what piece of furniture you're buying, correct? So let's say we buy that piece for $25, okay? And let's say we are going to paint it, all right? So with finishes and paints, I put that kind of all into one category so you can kind of choose what you're going to do with this project. So let's say one of those little tins per square foot, that covers a pretty decent sized table if you do it right. So those are $5 to $10. So I'll just put $5 for now. Stains, oil, glazes, etc. That's for, under the finish if you use any of that. Let's say we're gonna, glaze it afterwards. Let's give it a nice appearance. We'll throw that on there. So for that, we'll throw $5. Excuse my handwriting, by the way, it's terrible. Um, Overhead. So overhead is super, super important, guys. This is something where, for finishing specifically, I use all my fixed subjects. So, like, obviously I paint things different colors, correct? So that is not fixed. That's a variable, which means it changes. Overhead is things you use on every single project. Overhead is simply a fixed variable. So in the sense of me using overhead, I would say my 60 grit sandpaper, my 120 grit sandpaper, my 220 grit sandpaper, maybe some 180 in there, um, tack cloth, rags, things like that, mineral spirits, lacquer thinner. I use all of that in every single project. So I like to make sure that I cover my overhead in every single project I do, or I at least put it in there so I know what I'm doing. Um, so let's say for overhead, we'll do $5. You know, you're going to use rollers and paintbrushes. $5 usually covers it. I actually personally do 15, but most of the time, like you see how I put $5 in paints and finishes and stains and oils and stuff, you're not going to hit that mark, right? Maybe on the paint part of it, but I have a can of stain that's lasted me 20, 30 projects, right? You don't need that much money in there, but like as I said, I like to have an overhead of $15. That pretty much is my overhead in a sense because 5, 10, 15, I'm making sure that it's all covered. So that's really the important part. It's not how much overhead you have, it's just about covering yourself for what you think you're going to end up using. All right, so next we are going to talk about travel. So let's say we're delivering. So here's the difference between the travel I have up here and the travel I have up here in the other department. So travel here is under expenses, correct? So I may have, let's say, this would only apply to the other if I was doing this. So if I'm delivering for an extra $15, I'll put 15 up here, but I also have to cover my travel expenses like gas. So I might put $5 there. But because we are not doing any delivery, we're going to put 0. I have a shipping tab. We're not doing that. 0. It's just going to be a pickup order. All right. And then other. My lines are kind of off, but you know what I'm saying. For other, that is, just any other expense that you can think of. There's different circumstances with every piece that I deal with, so I always like to put other there, but we'll put 0 for now. Okay. So our total comes out to $40. Okay. Now let's talk about cash flow. So cash flow is how much money is coming in minus the expenses. So as you can see with our income on number 1, we have $200. Simple square here. And then our expenses are $40. You just subtract the 2. So you have $160, correct? So our next step is to take that cash flow and put it into our ROI. So total revenue is your total income, not including expenses, right? So this will just be our income number again from number 1, $200. Our expenses, back to number 2, $40. And then our net income. So net income is your cash flow. That is all your total income, including expenses. Okay? So unlike total revenue, where it doesn't include expenses, your net income is including expenses. So that is number 3, 160. So this goes 1, 2, 3, right? 1, 2, 3. Super simple, guys. On the other hand, we have our total here. So all this is a simple mathematical equation. It is 160 divided by 200. All right? That's your net income divided by your total revenue. And that will give you, for this one specifically, 80%. All right? So 80% of the revenue is what you're getting back. That's your net income in a percentage. Why is a percentage important? It's because you can fluctuate the percentage. Sometimes numbers look good, okay? To put this simply, sometimes numbers look good, but when you put it into a percent, it may not look so hot. Percents are better when it comes to filing and doing other Excel programs and stuff like that to punch numbers in that you need to make money. It's a lot easier to see percentages than it is numbers. And maybe that's just how my brain works, but I really think it's a lot easier to handle percentages. That being said, every project changes, right? So, numbers may look good on a small coffee table, but will those numbers look the same, with a big dinner table? Maybe you have more expenses, maybe you have less expenses, maybe you have more time put into it, right? So, seeing it as a number, as a percentage, sorry, as a percentage, the percentage will be the same for every single project you do, right? Whether it's $100 project, whether it's a $10,000 project. That percentage, if you want to keep a specific income for yourself, that percentage is what you want to aim for. I typically aim for between 50-60% and as high as I can get. I don't have a cap because if you put a cap on it, you could make a lot more money. But most of my projects honestly sit around 90 to 115% revenue, or total income. So, or net income, I apologize. Net income, I usually sit around 100, maybe 90 to 115, 120%, which is outstanding. This is why I think finishing furniture is an awesome side hustle. Not only that, but you can turn it into a full-time job if you do stuff like this. If you really pay attention to the numbers you're using, you can do this. So, yeah, so 80% is our net income. Um, and that will be easier to see because maybe one month you do all big tables, one month you do all small tables. If you use a percent, you can say, wow, I kept that between 80 and 100% revenue. Not, oh, I have $500 here and then $200 here, and then the next month I'm at like $1,000 and 300. It just gives you a solid percent. You can pay attention to it. It's awesome. All right, so that's the method I use, guys. Feel free to drop a comment in the comments box if you have any questions. Um, Shoot any more tips or tricks that you guys use to see if you have a good ROI. And don't forget to subscribe. Check out some of my other videos, and we'll see you guys real soon. Thanks.